it tastes like licorice, like black licorice. That's the closest thing I could say.
Oh, hi, Jaybird.
Hello.
It was a sour beer with absinthe. I guess that was the Jaeger bomb.
Ooh.
Absinthe. I had absinthe once in college. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, here's an art question.
Oh, yay, all right.
How many years of painting did it take you to get from your level in the old painting to what you can do now? So that painting
like
there?
This one I was showing you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny because this is a painting I think of being kind of a mile marker in my career, because this is, I think, the first painting I ever sold that was more than $500, which is a lot of money, and it still is, but at the time for me that was a crazy amount of money. And I used to just put my paintings, I do a painting pretty much every day, I put on eBay, they'd sometimes go for $8 or $100, and this one went for like $550, I think, or $580. It was around that. And it was around that time I thought, wow, I could actually do this and quit my Dairy Queen job and do painting for a living. So that's why I kind of hold this painting close to my heart. But that was about 20 years ago. I worked for a couple more years just popping things on eBay and still working either at Dairy Queen or as a waitress for a while. I also was at call center dining reservations for Disney. I think it would be in Florida, but it wasn't in Florida. It was back in Kansas. They had their dining reservations there for some reason. So this was a painting that was kind of a, hey, Jasmine, you made what you would do in 2 weeks at Dairy Queen doing a painting. And I think that's why I always think of this painting, because that was about 20 years. I would say, let's see, that was 2001. I think 2000. Let's see, how long have we had this house, love? 16 years? It's before Theo was born. He's 15, 16. So.
I don't know.
It was not...
This house? We had it after Theo was born.
Yeah, okay, but since we've been in Florida, rather. Okay.
A gazillion years ago.
Between 15 and 20 years ago, that's probably around the time I stopped doing this and working at, Dairy Queen or equivalent and just doing this. But this is one of the pieces that really made me think, oh gosh, that's like a paycheck. This did take me longer. It didn't take as long as this painting, but it took a while to do. Obviously, I wasn't as skilled back then, but I still love this painting. So it did take a while, and the internet was very different back then. You didn't have what people would call social media now. We had things like LiveJournal, and we didn't even have MySpace yet. It was, I think I'm lucky in a way that I started at a time and I was interested in computers then, way more than I am now. And it was like, hey, I'm going to start my website. I started my website in 1997. And it is 2019 now, so it's been 22 years since I had a professional website that I would do full time. That makes sense.
So Beth and Tony are in the room.
Oh, hi guys! Oh, I know you. Thank you for joining us here. You guys are awesome.
Angel forgot LiveJournal existed.
I know. That's so sad. That's like the only friends I have in real life almost are people I met on LiveJournal. LiveJournal was great. I liked LiveJournal because you could write as much as you wanted. You could put all the pictures you wanted, and then if you were friends with somebody, it would show you their post. Nowadays, it's like Facebook won't show you their post unless the person making the post gave them $10,000 or something. It's such a scam. I'm mad at Facebook right now, so don't get me started. Or damn. Unless they don't own Twitch, right? No. Amazon owns Twitch. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Amazon owns
currently,
Twitch.
unless they all own each other. I could even know anymore.
I don't think Facebook or Amazon own either. At
any rate, it took me around 25 years from the time I was just kind of taking the pictures I did during my lunch break and painted with water from the water fountain, the drinking fountain, made little paintings and put them on eBay, until the point that it was a job and a licensing company and a brand and have half a dozen, 10 employees, whatever. It took 25 years, roughly. Which might sound like a lot, but really that is not bad. If you're going to look at a sort of career that you're really putting time into, like if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or anything along those lines, you would put at least that amount of time before you build up that sort of job. And if you like doing that, I like hardly anything better than painting. That is a great thing. You just keep doing that and it makes you happy.
Yes, people are happy.
Oxytocin.
You don't make the blizzards anymore. Yes,
exactly. So I've taken some of that same sort of green that I had in the clouds back there, and I don't know if you can tell, but I've been this isn't made to look like her hair is necessarily green up there, but since the clouds behind her are green, the parts of her head or the shape of the round part of her head are looking more green because that light is reflecting off of that. And I'll try to show up. I can't see the TV for where I am because I'm in a different room than Matt here, effectively.
Yes.
But if you look at her eyes,
okay,
you can probably see them pretty good. I've added the top part of her pupils are darker and kind of feathery looking, as opposed to the bottom part of her pupils, which are more kind of glazed and they have a green mixed in with it. Because even though your pupils are technically a hole, which is really gross to think the pupil of your eye is a hole, and that's why it's black, because it's really a deep hole in your eye, it also reflects things because it has a cornea on the outside. So if you have a bunch of blue and green, it's going to be a bit cloudy blue and green, almost like a cataract would look, but it's only because she has a kind of an unusual amount of color sources around her.
So Art Fan says, I was just curious, there's a huge difference in your earlier work to the level you are now.
Oh, gosh, yeah. If you look at my artwork from when I was... Well, the thing is, you have to remember, too, my early work was when I was in high school. So if people are like, oh my God, did you paint that? And I'm like, yeah, I remember painting that between 6th period and 7th period, like at Center High School. You know, it's a weird thing. I think I came in the internet at the time where people weren't thinking those things are going to be around to haunt you for a while. So if I see some not all that especially good drawings you did, you have to think back about, what was I doing artwork-wise 25 years ago? Would you want people selling that on eBay? And I think things I did back then were probably way more cartoony. They had the same proportions. They would be like if you got a how to draw anime book, which they didn't really have back then and they do now, but it's kind of like that sort of thing, like more cartoony. And then as I got better at painting, realistically, I kind of kept the same proportions. It's like, hey, you got a big old head and big eyes and a little dainty mouth and fantastic hair.
Jasmine.
Yeah, but I've done that to realism.
Aaron wants to know why you're mad at Facebook.
Oh, Facebook, for those who don't know, Facebook has a thing called an algorithm, and when you post, it used to be on Facebook. I have 1.7 or 1.8, I haven't looked, million followers on Facebook, right? And you think, oh, if you post something, then all those 2 million people almost would see that. But no, Facebook, if you are a small business like me, you see that little blue check mark by my name, that means you're a social influencer or whatever. They say, oh, no, we're not going to show it to your 2 million followers. We'll show it to 5 people if you give us $1. We'll show it to 5,000 people if you give us $1,000. We'll show it to 50,000 people if you give us $50,000. And that's kind of what it is. And these are people who have already said, I would like to see your pictures. And it's not extortion, but it's something, because it used to be they'd show it to everybody. And now it's like they'll show it to 3% of the people. So, and then people here at Twitch are like, hey, Jasmine, I haven't seen your post for a long time. Why don't you post on Facebook? I'm like, I do post on Facebook. Facebook just doesn't show it to you unless I give them money first, which is horrible. And then they bought Instagram, and Instagram is doing the same thing. If you Google this, you will see probably me and a billion other artists or small business owners or writers or poets or sculptors or anything, and they are all running on the same thing, which is very sad. Which is why I like Patreon. Patreon is good for that. Patreon shows it to you if you ask them, and it costs $1, but it's $1. That's nothing. And then you can look at it. So Patreon gets a lot of it, but that's awesome still. Yeah.
Mimi has a painting of yours from 2006.
2006. Okay, that'd be 13 years ago. I was a lot better at painting by then. When people say something like 1994, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have been like in 7th grade. That would be awful. You know, 2006 would have been, I think I was better at doing 3-dimensional sort of paintings, more realistic paintings, and I definitely had a more strangeling sort of style to them.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Layla says,
Yeah.
what about Jasmine painting something like the portrait of Dorian Gray?
That would be an interesting one. You know, I actually have in my little notebook, and I did it when I was in England.
Got it.
What's that?
And if anybody got it,
they'd
be cursed.
There you go. But no, and I have a little notebook, and it says the portrait of Dorian Gray, like with an A and an E, like it was the girl version of it, and I thought that would be kind of fun. So that could be a painting. Again, I do tend to paint females, and nothing against guys, but I think they're kind of self-portraits, and I mostly identify most of the time as being a female. But that is it. I like the story. I like Oscar Wilde. We even watched the film with what's his name?
Oh, Jasmine.
Yeah.
Rakamo has I have a 2005 little small card size original, one of my most treasured items, Holly in her hair.
Oh, okay, I know that one. It's a Christmas. It's a Christmas one. Yes, that would have been. Let me think. It would have been probably around 3x5 or 2x4, and that was on a piece of canvas. There was a couple years there I did one painting every day, and I like a mini painting. I sold them for $50 back then too. It was a bargain, but I literally did one every day. If I missed a day, I'd do two the next day. And I did that for a couple years intentionally to make myself better at painting. Because I am not a well-educated person, but I didn't go to fancy art schools or anything. But that I just tried to force myself to do it over and over and over and over again. And if you do it 8,000 times in a row, you get better at it. And
Daniel says he likes to draw ladies too for the same reason.
Yeah, some of the things I like about when I do paint humanoid characters, they are things that probably fall into the genre of presenting themselves as more of a feminine attribute, like long hair or fancy eyelashes, which can go either way, but yeah.
Layla says that's what she was on about, a female version.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, instead of Dorian, like Dorian, like Dorian with an A and an E, Gray, that would, and put it like in attic. Almost kind of a haunted mansion-y or something. That would be kind of a great painting. So keep your eyes peeled. I might work on something like that. Speaking of which, I did do my project this past week for a possible haunted mansion project for Disney, but I can't say any more than that. But I finished it, and that's what I've been working at, and why I have not been working on this one. Although this would also look great in the haunted mansion.
Siren Moonbee says Pinterest and Twitter are my better avenues for small businesses.
Really?
As Facebook is pants lately.
Facebook is pants, man. I would agree with you on that. Yeah, Twitter, Matt was telling me, and again, I'm not very tech savvy, that it's easier to put pictures up on Twitter right now.
Than it used to be.
Than it used to be. Right now, I think my Twitter shows, like, whatever my
it just copies
Instagram
over.
does, and it copies it, but I don't know if it even shows the picture. I have an old, horrible phone, so I don't know if that would change it or not, but if it's something I could post on there, maybe I should do. Patreon is by far my favorite, but... Oh, I just followed right before this, Mandy. I followed Dolphin's partner, Chris. I forget his last name. I should know that.
Malador.
What is it?
Malador.
Malador. Yep, I just followed him up there. So I'm seeing a lot more of my artist friends and families and whatever going up on Patreon. So that is definitely a good one to go to. Also, a lot of the podcasts and things I listen to are up at Patreon now too. And it's like, hey, you throw them $1 and then you get the podcast like before everybody, and can actually save them on your phone or listen to them later and stuff like that.
Oh, Siren Moonbee always retweets Jasmine's posts.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, especially because I'm not very adept at Twitter, so if anybody can retweet any of those things.
Jasmine, would you ever paint Mulan or Moana?
I would love to, and they are both on my list, Disney. So basically, I give Disney a list of characters I would like to paint, and then in the mail, like actual mail, like from your mailbox, I get contracts from Disney, and they tell me what my next project is, and then I sign them, and that's what I paint. So it depends on, it could be how many other artists they're working with at the time. They're like, oh, we just had 5 Mulans at Wonderground the same month. We don't want to have 18 Mulans. You know, they want to try to balance things out. Like, oh, we need some more princesses. We need some more male characters. We need more animals. You know, it could be anything. But I would love to paint her, both of them.
Oh,
Moana,
so
I would like to.
For,
oh, is that the magic noise?
For subscription,
thank you very much. But no, Moana in specific, I would like to paint a lot because she has a lot of animal friends, and I like painting animals, and that would be a lot of fun.
Okay, Mimi says Twitter does not show your photos. It has a link to send me
Oh,
to
it doesn't?
Instagram.
Okay.
That's what I mean, Mimi. If Jasmine has to actually be on Twitter post it on Twitter to see photos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, again, I sound like an idiot, but yeah, I don't really know even what
but
it
if
does.
You're already on
I think
Twitter,
it just kind of
copies
it. Okay, that sounds like a job Maddie could do, maybe. He could, like, take my pictures and post them up there.
Maybe.
Maybe so, Maddie. You have a Twitter, and you post up there. Are you Matt Beckett up there?
I think so. I haven't posted for a long time.
Okay. Well, you're a writer. Isn't Twitter better for writers?
It is because
it's supposed to be good for writers,
or people who say
people
silly,
who read,
clever,
people who are
things.
witty.
Yes.
Not that I'm not witty, but I would like to show pictures of my pictures instead of just like
Twitter,
saying like half a sentence about, hey, check this out. It's a chick with green eyes. There you go.
My Twitter's just filled with smart Alex stuff.
Isn't that like 90% of Twitter?
That's what I'm saying. My Twitter feed, even.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe with Frozen 2 coming out, they'll have Jasmine visit her piece.
I want to know more about. I have heard that so many times about Frozen 2. I have heard it from people who are actually part of the company, and that is apparently a thing. So, crossing my fingers. I did some concept art for Elsa, and it has still not turned into a painting. So maybe if Frozen 2 comes out, they would like me to do that. Disney, it would sell really well. So we shall see. But with the Disney ones, it's not up to me. It's Disney. They own the characters. They own the rights to it. So, speaking of which, we will be at Disney tomorrow at Disney World at Epcot from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Wondergrand Gallery tent at the International Festival of the Arts at the Fountain Stage.
Yeah, is anyone come in to see us?
Probably. There might be people online now.
Here in the room.
No.
Oh, we're at 99 viewers, by the way.
Oh, wow. My goodness. I didn't know what to think about a 3-day weekend like this. Yay, 100 on my test.
Art fan says,
what's that magic noise?
Don't feel bad about being not knowing about computers and social media. I had to Google what a hashtag was and how to use it when I started Instagram.
I did too. I think I used it the wrong way for a long time. I'd like do hashtag, input my name, and nothing else. And I'm like, oh, how would people even find that? Hashtag cats. Well, if people are looking for cats, you might find them as a catnet. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking some white paint and I am going over the areas of her sleeve. These aren't because they're going to be white necessarily. I'm thinking about going with a darker dress, like kind of a black turning into navy. And hopefully I'll get to the point where I can show you like how I do embroidery and stitching on this. But this is going to be the part that is closer to the viewer. So instead of just looking like a big pile of wadded up toilet paper, it's going to look like fancy embroidery on her arm there. So I'm putting some very, very white. It's not quite white. It's actually a titanium buff, which is, they call it Titan buff with the golden fluid acrylics, Titan buff. That's what I use when I am not using my pure white paint yet, because when I use pure white paint, that's going to be the brightest thing in the painting, and that'll be the last thing I use. So I'm trying to make the middle parts of this. And here's the painting too. The dress, it's going to be very different colors and it's shaped a little different. But this is the dress I am looking at. And this was Queen Marie. She would have been Louis the 15th's wife, who would have been like Marie Antoinette's stepmother-in-law. Royalty gets confusing, but she had beautiful dresses, and I like this picture because she has a curtain and a window behind her, and I'm doing a painting with a curtain and a window behind her. So I'm looking at this style of dress where it's got kind of like a bodice that is kind of made of a hard substance that probably really keeps your posture great, and then a big magnanimous sort of skirt that has all sorts of little details. And I'm gonna have different details because I want the embroidery to kind of look like Artemisia and anise, like the different plants that go into anise. So like the little herbs that would be the flavoring in the drink. And 1 people out of 1 billion will probably notice that when they look at it, but I'll know it's there, and that will be fun for me to paint. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of thinking about, her arm's probably about that long, it's going to go that long, and there's some lacy stuff on the outside.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Can you tell people what the Twitch raffles are? And
oh gosh,
it's the same as last week, but there's a reason.
It is the same. It is the last weekend of the
It is our last
Epcot show. So we have been keeping with the Disney thing, and we are doing the same giveaways we did last time because we went back to Epcot and got more goodies for you. And you can't buy these anywhere other than Epcot unless you have like a shopping service or something. So, and I will autograph these. These are not yet autographed. These are purchased from Walt Disney World. We have Cruella de Vil, my Cruella de Vil. And I will sign her on the front. And they are technically postcards from Disney World. So if you want to send her in the mail, you can like put a stamp on there. These are from Walt Disney World's Wonderland Gallery.
Apparently, if she doesn't scare you, you're a sociopath.
No That's evil thing will. That's a song, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I screwed up the song.
But, these are made in America too. Hey, what are you gonna say? Except Cruella de Vil's kind of British. She lives in Suffolk. But anyways, these are the lovely pictures here. And as Matt has pointed out, the street behind her. You won't see the outside of it, but that is kind of where my London studio is.
And if you look really close, I'm waving in one of the windows.
Yes, look. You can't really see anything, but you can. But one of the windows is lit up.
Don't look too close.
So don't look too close. I mean, don't look at the numbers of the address. But yeah, I didn't put it. But so Cruella is the first one, and then Cinderella starts with the C, ends with an Ella. Cruella, Cinderella. Here we go, Cinderella, and leaving the ball. Who is the second Cinderella I've done for the Walt Disney Company? And she has left her magic slipper back there. That's how they're going to find out it's her.
Cinderella. Night and day, Cinderella.
Okay, yeah. And there's that staircase that took me longer to paint than the whole character. That staircase took me forever. When you paint with a paintbrush and here's a horrible ruler I use. This ruler is so old, it's probably not even straight anymore, but it's this horrible ruler. I use this. I brought this ruler to Kansas City when I painted this painting. And you can see all the little stairs all in my hand. There's my Cinderella. And all these sparkles. I don't even know how long that took because it was like layers of water. Yellow paint, water, yellow paint, water, red paint, yellow paint, water, etc. But she turned it really lovely. You can get these right now at the Epcot International Festival of the Arts. In the next, after the festival ends on the 25th of February, they will have them at Disney's other places, like their galleries, like the Wonderground Gallery and probably their other places on property. Memento Mori, I think at the Haunted Mansion's already planning to have these. I might do a sign here. And in California, I'll be there too. And then the third giveaway will be Tiana. She's one of my friends who lives down here in the south in the swamp. This looks like a lot of the areas by my house here in Florida where you get a lot of frogs, a lot of beautiful, beautiful lily pads. She's probably my favorite of the three. And one of the coziest places ever is Mama Odie's house up there. Somehow this ship got stuck in a big old live oak tree and people live in there, and that's awesome. And she's in her humanoid form. There's Prince Naveen. He's a frog because it is Princess and the Frog. But I didn't want to paint her also as a frog. I want to paint her when she's an actual person, and obviously Disney would want me to do that too. I've got a lovely big-eyed version of Anna. I like her a lot because she kind of matches my Releasing Fireflies painting because that was painted around where I live here too. Yeah, what's up?
Layla knows that we live in London at 224 Baker Street.
Yes, we do. Yes.
I did say that we solve crimes whilst in London.
I solve crimes, and my friend is a detective, solves crimes, and there's a lady who brings us tea sometimes, and it's actually not that far from there if you want to get wily about it. And then we have we've got the pin too. Yeah, that'd be the fourth one.
Yes.
So we've got those. Those are technically postcards, but you can frame them. They're like 5x7. You can frame them as prints, and they look really good. And then the last one we give away is my pin, which is only from Epcot. Unless you got it from me, man, it is only from Epcot. And this is Alice in a Dali Dream, as in Salvador Dali. For those who don't know what we're talking about, Epcot, that is the International Festival of the Arts, which is a big celebration fiasco at Disney, where they have contemporary art, people like me, and then they have a lot of things celebrating like Rembrandt and Van Gogh and Salvador Dali. And this is a combination of Alice in Wonderland and Salvador Dali. Some of you might know that Walt Disney and Salvador Dali worked on a Alice in Wonderland themed project. You can find it now, I think, if you look online. I don't think it's ever made it to regular movie theaters, but they played it at the Salvador Dali Museum out in St. Petersburg, Florida. But Anyways, we got Alice with some melting clocks, and you cannot buy this anywhere in the world unless you are at Epcot during the Festival of the Arts, or you can win it here live on Twitch. And I have a couple more I set aside that even if they sell out at Disney World, I will have them on to give away randomly to people at Patreon. And if you don't know what Patreon is, you should go up there now because you are missing out. And I send randomly stuff like that I've seen those on eBay already. Even they can buy them for $14 at Epcot. People are selling them on eBay for like $130. So, don't want to sound like an infomercial, but
we have to sometimes. Hey, we only got like a couple minutes to the raffle.
What's up, baby?
We only have a couple minutes to the raffle.
Gosh, this is going quickly. Well, now I've kind of built her hair out a bit more. Got a little bit of yellow up there. It's turning kind of gray. I don't want it to look like she's necessarily going gray. I just want to look like some parts of it are darker and some parts are being kind of hit by the light behind her. There we go. Yeah, if you looked earlier, it almost looked like she had a Bride of Frankenstein thing, like she had a big white stripe. Now you're seeing it's a lot more greenish sort of yellow, as if you really did have an elaborate sort of updo, like you're going to a wedding or a prom or whatever, and you've got your hair done all fancy, got your hair did all fancy, and her hair is kind of, and that kind of matches, not matches exactly, but it has kind of a repeated pattern around the clouds, so it doesn't look like it's like cardboard cutout or you're at like a photo booth or something. I want it to look like she exists in that background, but I also want to make sure that the background looks like it is outdoors, but she has an open window. I think last time I took my ruler out and I made like the bottom part of the window and the upper part of the window like it's a windowsill, but like a European one that doesn't have a bunch of glass and screens in it, like you open it and it's open. One of the things I'm going to do very shortly, if not now, is I'm going to darken this part of the curtains. Right now it's got kind of a weird fleshy, looks like you just cut somebody's heart out and it like kind of, I don't know, like a Grey's Anatomy sort of book, and it looks like muscle tissue. I want that to look more like fabric. So that's something I can do really quickly before I start working on the embroidery on her dress, and then I will start working on
Jasmine,
that, which is fun. Yeah.
Black Orchid Fairy says, is Jasmine going to give away an original painting on Patreon?
I am going to give away. Oh, was that your? Okay, yep. We're sorry we have another giveaway right now, but yes, I am, and it's going to be one of the neatest things ever, and we will talk about that after Matt decides who, or Moobot, our software decides. It's not really Matt. You can't bribe him. I mean, I don't know how Moobot works, but I assume
what would you bribe
can.
me with anyway?
Yeah, I'm gonna say, hey, use a pen, Maddie. I don't know what you could bribe Matt with. Yeah, she's.
I don't know. It's hard to bribe me.
You're not bribable. Your honesty is one of the things that makes you.
Well, also I don't like a lot of things.
You're not materialistic.
I am, but it'd have to hit me in the right moment.
Yeah, like me. I wish I had a soda. Oh my God, there's a soda.
Alex Ladante.
So they won. Cruella. Is that the first time?
Yes.
It's Cruella. Congratulations! And listen and look at
Alex Ladante.
Alex Ladante.
I like it.
Oh,
I like that
name. That is a good name. If it's your real name, congratulations. That's very good. And this is Cruella de Vil from Disney World. You'll be one of the first people to get her, and I will autograph her for you too. But yes, speaking of Patreon, since I have been extraordinarily busy for the early part of this year, I wanted to make usually I try to give away a free painting every month at Patreon, roughly. So what I'm going to do next will be a custom painting. You know how we're here at Twitch? You probably, if you haven't seen, go look at like last week's broadcast or one before that. Sometimes I do small paintings, little square paintings or little rectangular paintings. And I kind of start it off and I say, hey, somebody's going to get this. Usually I sell them. They go usually, I don't know, what do they go for? Maybe $2,500, $2,700 for that size. Matt keeps track of that better than I do.
Yeah, sure.
Between $2,000 and $3,000 roughly. But I'm going to give one away as a Patreon prize it will probably be either the end of February or March. But if you are a member up there, I will randomly pick somebody and say, hey, how would you like me to finish your painting? And you can pick what eye color and hairstyle and skin color. And if you want to put your dog in there or anything like that, I will just be giving that away for somebody. I will let you guys know as soon as I know the exact date, because I do have to finish up a couple commissions before then, but that will be the next giveaway at Patreon, and it will be custom. So like the little ones you see me painting here at Twitch, you will get one for free, randomly chosen. And the odds at Patreon, if you're going to actually look at, hey, I'm randomly surprising somebody at Patreon, are a billion times better than the lottery. So it's kind of like here at Twitch. Eventually everybody might win something, or they might even win a couple times. So that's kind of how Patreon is, but it's more of a static sort of website. Like, I'm not physically talking there. Gotcha. Like Facebook, but awesome. Yeah. I follow a lot of the people whose stuff I collect. Like, I collect a lot of artwork myself, obviously, and then I follow a lot of musicians and performers and people who write or poets, stuff like that up there. It's a very
people are
good
saying
venue.
that you're being very generous.
Oh, well, hey, like you guys are. That's kind of a thank you for the people who bother to throw $1 at me at Patreon. Yeah.